What's up? Today, we're going to make a scratch edit. So a scratch edit, what is it? So sometimes there's edits where you'll have just a scratch-in sample that goes into the original song, or you'll have acapellas or instrumentals that you have in multiple sections so people can use them in competitions or if they're just freestyling or practicing at home. So in this version, I'm going to be using acapellas to make my own scratch samples. So here I have exported a bunch of sounds that I use typically. I tried to make it more of like a modern pack, not your stereotypical like scratch samples, sounds like that. I tried to take samples and sounds from the last like 10 years and put them in a pack.
That shit crack.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay. Let's go.
So you can hear all the sounds are dry. I have all the volumes rolled off in advance, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be separating each of these into its separate track, and then I'm going to be doing some effects just to make sure they sound as clean as possible. So when a DJ loads it up, all they have to do is just start scratching. They don't have to change any of the volumes or anything like that. It'll already be ready for them to use. Should probably freaking... Ugh. Okay, so let's start with the first sample here. Classic. Probably stick to an EQ8 for this one. Doesn't sound like there's anything too crazy going on here. Just want to remove all of that low end so that DJs don't have to adjust that in advance when they're scratching. That one sounds good. I try not to put any reverb or delays or anything like that because DJs can do that on the mixer and then it adds an element to whatever sort of routine they're doing. So I try to leave these as dry as possible.
That shit crack.
So there's a lot of low end on this one.
That shit crack. That shit crack. That shit crack. That shit crack.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm just going through and I'm trying to roll off as much as I can without destroying the sound or taking too much of that bite away or that body, just to make it easier for DJs.
Hey.
So you can hear there's a ton of low end.
Hey.
Come here. Oh my gosh. Say something in the mic. Ooh.
Okay.
So this one has a lot of static in the background, which is fine in the track, but I kind of want to make this as clean and as clear as possible, I guess would be the wording that I'm trying to use here. So I'm going to use an EQ and a gate effect here to try to reduce some of that like hissing, that vinyl crackle in the background.
Okay.
And then just put it on after the EQ here. So what a gate does is it pretty much is just establishing at what dB you won't allow any noise past that. So let's say the static in this background is sitting at like negative 50 dB, whereas the acapella or this vocal here is hitting at about like negative 6. I would want to set the threshold down low enough to where the acapella still comes through, but it removes all the background static.
Okay.
So with the gate effect, you're pretty much just playing with the threshold and return, and then that'll get you the result that you're looking for. On to the next one. Just going to roll off the low end again here.
Let's go.
And last one.
Let's go.
And there's just like a harshness on like the S where he says less. That's just, I think, is way too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duck that frequency. So if I'm like going through and there's a certain section of a vocal or any sound that I'm trying to get rid of for that matter, I'll just do a frequency sweep. So there's this headphone button here on your EQ8. So I'll turn that on and I'll just sweep across the frequency until I either hear that letter or sound that's really coming through, and then I'll duck in that area to then reduce that harshness.
Let's go.
Like right there.
Let's go.
And that should do it, to be honest. When it comes to making these scratch packs, what I did was I actually have to move everything over to this laptop. But what I did was I just dropped in each sound and then I just chopped it up till I got the sample that I wanted. And it's also important to make sure that everything is in the same tempo. So I have this at 75 beats per minute. So when I'm exporting this, sometimes it'll lose track of the tempo. So when I make the edit, I'll title it like Scratch Tools 75 BPM edit, just so DJs or I know myself that it's going to be 75 beats per minute is the tempo of each of these sounds. So yeah, that wraps it up for today's video. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will be back next week to show you guys how to make your own clean DJ edits. So let's say there's a song out there that's only a dirty version and you need to make a clean version for a corporate event or a wedding set or anything that you have going on that requires you to play clean music. And I'll show you guys how to make your own clean edits so you don't have to wait for those edits to come out and you could just make them yourselves. Until then, take it easy. Tell someone you love them, all of that good stuff, and I'll be back soon.